What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I left gaming off the title, but let's be honest.
You actually had me wondering for a few seconds. I'm like, wait, did we actually update it?
Well,
yeah, I wasn't going to say anything.
I didn't notice. We're slowly rebranding the podcast to be middle-aged men and their problems. We were talking before we went live about how three of us are doing home renovations right now for different reasons, including mold and ugly wallpaper. And then there's going to be a fun little tidbit on the end of this podcast. If you listen all the way to the end, you get to hear us talk about our aches and pains, because this is the Aches and Pains cast, where middle-aged men talk about everything that hurts. Now, I know what you're thinking.
So when do we change this to curmudgeon?
The curmudgeon cast?
Well, it was Casual Shenanigans Gaming, then it's just Casual Shenanigans. Now we're not healthy enough for shenanigans anymore. Now we're just casual. Everything's casual.
Now, I do want to give credit where credit was due. James has been a middle-aged grumpy man for the entire podcast. That part's not changed.
That's true.
So welcome, Papa James.
And I have not personally evolved one bit either. So
that's the best thing about it. None of us grow. Speaking of which, we're watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We've started watching that because Hope is interested in seeing it now. And I've seen it.
You've never seen it before?
I've seen the first couple seasons. I stopped watching it.
Okay, nice.
Hey,
dude.
Hey, Joel, which character do you think Hope thinks you're like?
Gee, I wonder. Charlie.
All right, we're
Dude,
also.
I love my green jacket too. It's like it's 100%.
It's really close. We're also joined by Joel. I need to get a nice nickname for you, because we got Papa James, we got Joel, and of course we're also joined by the Ranger.
He's also an influencer too, and a YouTube star, star, the Ranger.
Range,
oh, I hate that.
Range
I really hate that.
Is he a range fluencer?
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, speaking of the Rangers, the park rangers were all over my butt this weekend. We were at a dune buggy park, like an off-road park, and they just park out there watching for people doing hoonigan stuff. They're just like, I thought park rangers were cool. I thought,
hoonigan?
What was that word? Hoonigan.
You mean hooligan?
No, hoonigan. Hooning.
What is hooning?
I don't believe that's not a thing. That's
it's
not
a thing.
an actual thing.
Hoonigan is Ken Block's company that does car stuff. They've got a YouTube channel, pretty famous. Hooning, hooning a car, is like donuts and driving crazy and stuff.
Okay.
So we're in the off-road park.
Joel's like, wait, I caught you on a Joelism.
I know, we almost got you.
Yeah. Anyway, this is my first. It's my first negative running with park rangers. That's all I was going. Sorry, James.
I still like when people forget that they are actually like federal law enforcement officers. Like, what was it, last summer? Somebody shoved an armed park ranger into a lake after arguing about a drinking ticket, and they went to prison. That's like a terrible decision. It's like shoving an FBI agent. Like, they're all federal law enforcement officers. Not a thing you want to do.
Yeah, but
his hat he came up he made the guy dry it off, you know.
Try that. FBI agents don't wear the little beige shorts, though. That's all I'm saying.
He was wearing the shorts.
Was that a low Boy Scout joke right there?
A boy blow?
I did wear the beige shorts.
A boy blow. All right. We don't have any announcements. As a reminder, the podcast is back at this level of quality. It will not get better than this.
Can only decline like our bodies.
If anybody enjoyed the last week's 20-minute cast, let me know what you thought of the audio quality, because I ripped it right off the Discord feed, which a lot of people have been doing since they've started doing podcasts from home. And
did you say last week's?
It was like a month ago. I don't know.
We don't have any kind of consistency like that.
Well, there's like less and less views too. We're doing great. We're running.
Well, no, the views are a long tail. The views, that's always been the case. The views have always been a long tail. They get a few over the first, but if you go back to a lot of our older episodes, Joel, like they were picking up like a trickle of views for years after the podcast ended. So that's to be expected.
All I can do is a little trickle right now and all day.
Oh, Joel, that's good. Well
Can we just do a casual conversation of the most old man thing we've ever done.
Oh, that we've done so far.
Old man
I think every
confessions.
podcast is just turning into a casual
I'd like to do some
conversation,
casual
pretty much.
conversations, but scheduling, as we've discussed, has been a little bit of a problem. There's so many home renovations getting in the way. Meanwhile,
Mold, it's everywhere.
Joel, who's not doing any home renovations, he's just got to decide, like, are we going to weed eat the whole yard today?
Dude, I had this gentleman who mows the lawns for our neighbor and the other neighbor. He came by. He's like, "Hey, I'll do it." I was like, "Sweet." So he does it. He does such a great job. It's totally
You must have seen
worth
your
the
little
cash.
tiny weed eater motor.
Yeah, I was ashamed. I was like, okay, so he started to mow right in the front. I literally ran down the basement and made sure the mower couldn't see it through any window. I felt full shame.
Now,
Joel, I don't know if you sound like an old man or like a really snobby man saying, "I had this gentleman cutting my lawn."
he's my lawn gentleman.
He was an old chap.
It's your grass guy. Just say it's your grass guy. How much is your grass guy
guy.
charging you for that yard? Front and back?
He'll do front and the back, and he and he blows.
The way you said that, you were just so pleased.
Because you said boy blow earlier. So, $40.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
And we like,
That's
I
really
mean,
good.
like our grass is not crazy, so he'll do it like once a month, or like, you know, if it goes really bad, like, it's been great. So
Nice. That's awesome. All right. Our main topic tonight is E3. I know what you're thinking. It's we haven't heard Casual Shenanigans hot takes on E3. It was only 3 weeks ago. What are we supposed to do? Don't worry about it. We're here to talk about the parts of E3 each of us actually paid attention to. I watched the Microsoft conference and that was it. What about the rest of you guys?
I watched Nintendo live.
Okay.
I watched
Everything
Microsoft,
else was
yeah.
just
yep, that's all I watched.
I would have watched Sony. I've stopped watching Nintendo ones because I feel like they spend so long like talking about like Nintendogs, and there'll be a 30-minute segment on Nintendogs.
it's always
Yeah, you're
it's
not
always
wrong.
freaking Smash Brothers. It's like
And the very first thing is a complete freaking tease of Zelda, and then it goes right into
Yeah,
freaking
like they
Smash Brothers
toss
again.
Ganon off the cliff. And you're like, what is this? And you're like, welcome to Smash Brothers. New
The
player
Wild 2
entering.
now in Smash Brothers. Freaking.
So do you want to talk about Breath of the Wild 2? What did we learn about Breath of the Wild 2 at E3?
Nothing.
Basically nothing. I mean,
All
they
right.
showed off a little bit of gameplay, but yeah,
Let's talk about the good conference then. Microsoft.
Actually, no. There was one good thing in the Nintendo. The what's it called? Metroid Prime or no Metroid? what was
Metroid
it called?
Dark?
No.
something.
I'm so glad that we like research before we do these things.
Metroid Dread.
Metroid Dread.
Dread.
That actually looked really cool.
That's a good name. I mean, none of us remembered it. So they're maybe not winning there, but like that's a solid name. All right, so Microsoft conference, or as we like to call it, the Bethesda conference. Isn't it? I think it's funny. It was only I think it was 2016 was the E3 where Microsoft did the press conference where everything was like day and date coming to Xbox Play Anywhere. Like everything was PC and Xbox. And I think every single time they announced one, we were looking at each other like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. Isn't it kind of funny that like it's only been 4 or 5 years and we just take it as granted now. Every single thing they show is going to be Xbox and PC day and date, and it's
Right.
all on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Like they've so thoroughly in this particular area, I think, beaten Sony that it's just like, well, of course you're going to be able to play it on any of your systems. Of course it's going to be backwards compatible. Of course it'll sync everything over. Of course it'll be available day and date. Like that's just the way they do everything now. So that was pretty cool. We saw a Starfield trailer. What did everyone think about Starfield?
We know nothing still.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of a really weak trailer, just because I mean, it didn't even tease even a mood of what you might be doing in the game, and that's what honestly most bothered me, because I was like, okay, it's been 2 years since they even showed off their initial little teaser of it, or it might have been even 3 years, and like to me, I think if it just would have been a bit of like a world, like showing off a few like cities or something like that, you know, maybe not interactions, but you can kind of go, ooh, that looks like a really cool thing. Wow, they created some cool. It was just like, okay, a couple people in spaceships. Okay. Like,
do you think that's because it's
what are you going to do? Are you going to fly around? Do you just walk around? You know, what kind of game is it? So I have no idea. So I think they're so freaking far out. I mean, Bethesda just the other day was saying how Elder Scrolls 6 is still in the early design phase.
Really?
Man, it's been so long since Skyrim, though. If they would just stop porting it to everything.
So I'm hoping it's wrong, and what he means is like we're still there's so much to do. You can still design things, but I'm like, I don't know. I kind of believe that when he says they're still early. I think it's early.
I think it's the same thing you see with GTA 5. Like, we should have had another GTA by now, except GTA 5 was so successful with GTA Online that where it normally would be like a 1 to 2 year hype cycle of the game is released, it's a really big deal. It wins Game of the Year awards. People play it. You get a Game of the Year edition. People keep playing it, blah, blah, blah. You know, and then like 2 years later, okay, that game's kind of done. GTA Online was like just beginning to take off 2 years after original launch. And because of that, they milked it for so long. Like, we could probably be 5 years out from the next Grand Theft Auto, and it wouldn't surprise me. And I bet it's the same thing with Skyrim or Elder Scrolls 6 for slightly different reasons. Of they were able to sell Skyrim on so many systems, and it just had such a long tail on it that they didn't start working on Elder Scrolls 6 in 2013 or whatever when they should have. Like, they probably just didn't really think about it until well after Fallout 4 was released.
We should call it the Valve effect, because once they tasted that sweet money from making Steam, they stopped making Half-Life, stopped making games.
Thanks for the reminder, James.
And games they're so expensive to make these days. Like, I'm not trying to make it sound like I begrudge them taking their time to make a good game, but it definitely seems like they're not even starting the game for a while. Like, it's not just, Rockstar, they'll take 10 years if they think they need to take 10 years to make a game good, and it'll be good. But with Bethesda, I don't know. It still feels like it's a little all over the place with some of their marquee titles.
Yeah.
And they're...
Yes, and I feel like some of the games, I think, now kind of worry me that they feel like they have to compete with adding so much in it. You know what I mean? With all the games, like, kind of evolving and, like Call of Duty, you know what I mean? There's every map's changing, and everybody expects, like, the one game you play is supposed to be played for 400,000 hours. And you better have new content for that 401,000 hours, you know?
Right.
I wonder how much that, and my excitement for Elder Scrolls 6 is only if it's actually going to feel kind of like what I think most people hope it is with Elder Scrolls. I don't want it to be just some, it's going to be the map's changing every, season.
I don't think we have to be worried about that.
I hope it doesn't do that.
I don't think we have to be worried about that. I think the worry is it can't be just like another Elder Scrolls game, because so many awesome RPGs have come out since 2011 that are so good that I think if they come out with another like clunky, wonky, weird NPC, like all the stuff that we still kind of saw in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, I think they need to have a generational leap in capability.
Yeah.
I mean, because they've skipped an entire generation.
Yeah, I'm saying the thing that I think some games haven't been able, and the reason why they can resell Skyrim a zillion times.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean the same way Zelda is out there. I think what Elder Scrolls, what they have been able to do so well is, of course they have a lot of clunky stuff in it, but there really hasn't ever been like a RPG that captures the way Bethesda is able to do it. There's some kind of coziness to their games that they're able to do really well. And even Fallout 4 had that. I would say maybe their story wasn't great, but like their games still have that, just like you just want to see the next little area. And so I guess I'm just hoping that it doesn't get crammed with, battle royale type weird stuff and changing seasons and keep up with the comic books. Like, I know if you open Apex Legends right now, dude, you don't even know, man. Like the first screen, there's literally 40 comic books you have to read.
Why are you opening Apex
understand
Legends?
What?
Why are you opening Apex Legends?
I play it every once in a while. I enjoy the main game, but
all right.
Like the
Mister,
main screen,
I don't leave a game installed for more than 60 seconds after I finished it.
Dave
occasionally plays Apex Legends.
I don't have it installed.
Fair enough. Play on.
Yeah, when I want to play it, I install it. So, got you. But I'm just saying, like, you know, there's comic books and there's all these weird things, and you're just like, what? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. So I just wonder how much games are, because I mean, again, Cyberpunk. I mean, one of the reasons why it crashed and burned pretty hard is because the fact that, I mean, like, they were trying to jam everything into the game, and they hyped it as adding everything into the game.
Best game I played last year.
What's that? I'm happy for it. But what they promoted was a gigantic game that had everything like GTA and everything you can imagine, and it obviously didn't. I mean, like, and they're very far from that. And I just wonder how many games are like, crap, this has to be the one that lasts for 40 years, you know? And I think they can just get out of control, because I think a game like Ghost of Tsushima was so fantastic it just was a simple game, but just done so incredibly well and polished, and like, that's it, you know? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with freaking Bethesda.
As far as the generational leap goes, that initial camera pan, you could immediately tell it was still the same engine.
Yeah.
Some of those window assets in the spaceship, I did like a triple take because they looked like the oval windows from the vault building pieces in Fallout 4 and 76. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of a generational leap, though, Dave, were you surprised by Stalker 2?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually really nervous about Stalker 2 because everything looks so clean and it is like full of fan service. It's making me nervous. The devs did a Q&A after the trailers and all that we had at E3, and they went down the list of like all the fans' main concerns. Like, yeah, we're on a new engine. Is the game going to still have that same AI system that made the original game so unpredictable in its like open world parts? And that's where like all the fear and stuff came in when you were exploring. And they're saying like, yeah, it's a new engine visually, but we have rewritten the A-Life system for Unreal, and it's version 2.0 now, and all the same kind of encounters and environment stuff that happened in the first 3 games, it's all going to be here in the second. And then, you know, coupled with the trailer looked incredible. So if it can deliver on everything that they're promising, they're saying, you know, we're going to have the underground sections again. And this time around, they're saying it was either 50 or 60 square kilometer open world in total. I think the original game was like 6 square kilometers total. Once you added up all the areas, the original
When
game
is this coming out, Dave, again?
Next April. It did get delayed, and actually, that's one of the reasons why I'm starting to get a little more hopeful again, because for the last couple of years since the announcement, it was like vaporware, and they just kept saying, "Oh, it's coming out in 2021," and then they kept saying all these features it was going to have, and I was like, there is no way this small little company can rebuild their main title in a new engine with these visuals and still come out in 2021. So I hope it gets delayed again, honestly, because that'll increase the odds of it being all that it's being promised to be. But what do you guys think of it based on what you've seen?
I'm really excited.
Yeah, same. I mean, from your video, Dave, I missed the main trailer for it, but after watching it, yeah, I mean, if it's anything like that, like especially the gameplay, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be really exciting. I mean, because I love Metro Exodus and all those kind of games. I replayed through 1 and 2 before I played Metro Exodus, so like those games, my jam.
James, and I've heard.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I've heard that some of the old devs have come back. Some of the devs that went to other studios to work on games like Metro, some of them have filtered back, including the guy who wrote the original A-Life system is writing the new one. So, like, there's a lot of checkboxes being checked. Please speak.
James, what
this is my Half-Life 2. It's
Last Jedi good.
The lighting, just the lighting and the smoothness of the animations and stuff was one of the things I thought was the coolest. But James, what were you excited about with it?
I've played the other games and I like the environment, and I think it looks so much more polished. Like that was the old games have really aged kind of harshly.
They were re-aged when they came out.
Yeah.
So seeing it like with a fresh coat on, I'm excited.
Nice. Elden Ring. I don't think we need
I was going to say...
Oh, sorry.
Wait.
Yep.
One more thing on Stalker, and to sum it all up, we still have not seen real gameplay. What we saw...
Stalker wasn't showing gameplay or anything?
That was gameplay. It was little 15-second vignettes of stuff.
Okay, but it was
wanted to show off different areas
in-engine
of the game.
gameplay. Like, it was a gameplay trailer. It just wasn't.
It was in-engine gameplay, but
Okay.
like the gunfight especially, it felt like it was very, very scripted. Like all the enemy locations, no enemies moved. I don't know if you noticed that. None of them moved.
I've only
So
seen
it really
the
felt
once.
like-
Yeah, I didn't notice.
It really felt like, in Arma, you could in your editor, you could like drop people in and like lock them into place so that when someone breached a building, people would be like in all the right places. It felt like that kind of scenario where they had carefully arranged all the pieces. Nobody was allowed to move for the demo. So we have not seen what I would call real uncut gameplay yet.
Gotcha. Elden Ring looks like more Dark Souls, just in a different type of thing. I think it's interesting, and I'm not saying that to rag on it, but like Bloodborne was basically Dark Souls in a different setting. There's so many things about those type of games that are similar. This looks like Elden Ring is going to be that type of thing, not in a bad way. Just it looks like it's going to be interesting new world.
I'm so stoked for that.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Just the mechanics of that game, it's just gonna be good. I'm curious to see, because this one is rumored that you can build like a campsite anywhere. So like your bonfire is pretty much wherever you place it. So because they were trying to do that actually in the last couple games, but it just didn't make sense. But so it'll be interesting to see how that works. But yeah, I'm really excited for that game.
Back for Blood, which I believe is really just like the Left 4 Dead original devs going, hey, we're making another Left 4 Dead.
Yep.
Cool.
I'm stoked for that. Me and my brothers were planning to try to get it on PS5 and play.
I'd be down to try.
Back for
I'm
IP
hoping it's good.
infringement.
Well, yeah.
Age of Empires 4. I am interested in that, and it's actually made me thinking, like, so much of what I love about Age of Empires is just the nostalgia, is growing up with it, playing so much Age of Empires. So on the Steam sale, I bought Anno 2070, I think. I forget which one. And I'm going to try a new sim strategy game and see if I can get into something different. I've played like a lot of Tropico, I've played stuff like that, but I want to try another game and another 4X and see how I like it. Forza Horizon 5, nice. I put that on there. I don't know, James, if that was something, if you play the Forza Horizon games, I'm assuming that Joel and Dave are not super interested.
I haven't played it a lot.
I always loved whenever I played it at a friend's house, but never had an Xbox to really play it.
Okay.
It looks so much. It looks fantastic on the Series X.
Yeah.
Have you played it yet? We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Forza Horizon 5, it looks like more Forza Horizon, but in Mexico. So cool. They don't look like they've updated some of the things I want them to. My biggest beefs with the games or so far has just been like all the engines sound okay, but when you make modifications to them, they don't sound crazy. But like if you swap a V10 turbo engine into this tiny little car, like I want it to sound absolutely crazy. There's just a few things like that. And then visual customizations, they've slowly been getting better, but the Forza games have always had this like really across the board, every car can kind of get all of the same mods approach to it, that now that I understand how to tune a suspension and how to do more stuff, I would like it to be more customized, but I also get that their goal is just for you to hop in, make ridiculous builds and have fun. So I did get a Series X, and I'll talk about it more in What Are You Playing, but I fired up Forza Horizon 4 last night, and I have a Willys Jeep, like a 1940s Willys Jeep with 800 horsepower, all-wheel drive, swinging to the ground, and I'm just taking off doing like 4-wheel burnouts for like 200 feet.
It's beautiful.
So that's what the Forza Horizon series is all about. I've got a couple buddies that probably will want to play it, so I'm looking forward to that. Zelda, we didn't learn anything about. Dave, last podcast, we talked extensively for 4 or 5 minutes about Battlefield 2042. You got an actual gameplay trailer. I hesitate to call that a gameplay trailer because it really does not represent any multiplayer match that will ever happen.
No gameplay.
Because
that's not true at all.
Well, no, I'm saying the parts that like it looked very much like scenes from a campaign that is not going to exist because they say it's multiplayer only.
But that's Battlefield. I just released a video this week called Battlefield Trailer Moments where I lined up a couple of... I didn't expect you to. Joel did.
I'm sorry.
Part of it.
I'm just being mean.
Joel's lowering my watch time, I'm sure. On the analytics. Opens it 20 seconds.
I think Joel opens it and just to close it. Just to lower your analytics down.
He opens it several times with his...
So at least someone sees it.
He opens it with his alt account so he can argue back and forth in the comments.
Really helps me out. Engagement.
No, I watched Dave's video. I think what Jeremy means, and I agree with him, is sure it's gameplay, it's stuff to have. I think what I want to see is like what does it actually feel like as you're playing? Because yeah, we saw Battlefield 5 gameplay, but when you play it, I mean, people don't build the walls, they don't build those little things. Like that's not game. That's not like what actually happens in the game. You know, you kind of get a feeling of, oh, okay, it's this fast. This is what happens. This is how quickly you die. You know, this is the objects you're using. That's kind of what I want to see to like be excited to see if the game's gonna be fun.
I only want to see gameplay though if it has scripted dialogue between all your teammates.
Remember the Division? Remember the Division teaser?
Yeah, that was so bad.
Hey Sarah, you're on your iPad? You want to join us? Yeah, I'm hopping in, guys, on my drone.
Can I help you, baby, by tagging enemies and doing nothing else to contribute?
Yeah,
that sounds
I've got
good.
4 tags, especially on enemies that take like one pistol shot. You know what I mean? Like at the start of the game, no one would play.
We have one man and 2 women in this party. The 4th person that joins, should that be a second man to balance this perfectly egalitarian party out across tablets?
Do you guys
consoles,
remember?
and PC?
Do you guys remember Wildlands when they first showed that? How awful
Gosh.
like
Hey, man, I'm
They're
in a
like using
motorcycle. I'm heading
actual
southeast.
radios.
I think that's I think Wildlands is probably the worst initial gameplay reveal that we all ended up playing and enjoying. Like,
Yeah, I know. That was a surprise.
we were just roasting that game after we saw it. I think that was the same E3 where Microsoft knocked it out
Dude,
of the
maybe
park.
that will be Battlefield 6. Maybe that will be it. We're all roasting the crap out of it, and then it ends up being like the best Battlefield.
So Dave, I'm sorry, we've all been just making fun of it. Legitimately, there were some cool looking things in there. Battlefield 2042. Out of the gameplay reveals, what did you like?
Well, no, I agree with you on that. It's not true gameplay. It was again like Stalker. It was a series of vignettes of Battlefield moments, which is what they're doubling down on for all the marketing for this game is just total fan service. Which on the one hand is cool, but what's not cool is getting the fan service gameplay trailers and then having to wait 2 months for actual gameplay at EA Play. Because again, I love the Battlefield moments. I love doing videos on them. I hoard my Battlefield moment clips like I'm a squirrel in an attic with a pile of nuts, and then I'll do like a video every 6 months on them. But that's not really showing you what the new title is going to be. I wish they had just more actual stuff. EA plays in 21 days now. We're going to get stuff then. So I really don't have an opinion. I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks good, but it doesn't really tell us anything, so I don't really have much to say about it. I didn't do a video on the gameplay trailer or anything. It's just kind of there.
I mean, we know visually it looks incredible, and that's always been the case. Battlefield games have always pushed the envelope for multiplayer first-person shooters. So like, I'm very excited to play it and check it out because I've really enjoyed Warzone over the past year, and I'm down to get back into a good Battlefield game. All of my roasting for it is just because they've screwed so much up with the last couple that it's hard to get excited by it because it feels like it's going to be the same cycle again. But if that's not the case, I am legitimately excited, and it'll be fun to play with everybody if this is a return to form, a return to 6 months after launch Battlefield 4, or a return to pretty much all of Battlefield 3. Like, I'm down.
Do we have any news yet on crossplay?
They're absolutely refusing, I think intentionally, to say anything about it. So
Maybe
I'm kind of worried about it.
Make a big. Hopefully, it is big news. You know, they can use.
Yeah, it could just be technical issues too, like where they're still working some things out because there's a technical test, a closed NDA technical test happening early July before EA Play. I think they're doing all they've announced.
you're working on your washing machine, right?
They actually had to announce like a little blog about it because people were freaking out like, how do I get in? Like, this is literally performance testing. They made a build of the game that's just white box, so people can't be making a bunch of content with it. So I think they're testing crossplay if it's going to be a thing, and like server performance. Because yeah, like Jeremiah said, these games tend to push the envelope for multiplayer graphics, but this is probably the smallest leap because they're doubling the player count size. Like, it looks really good. But, I mean, Battlefield 5, the initial characters and like, vehicle models were insane of a leap compared to previous games. Only the game had held up.
We'll see.
Yep. It's now time. Well, I mean, I can keep moving on, but was there anything else from E3 y'all wanted to talk about? Anything that was big? I don't really feel like there was, but I didn't pay that close of attention.
Nintendo released Game & Watch. You can play Zelda on it.
I won't.
Actually, I kind of like that. I didn't. The Mario one only came with like nothing.
Yeah.
All right.
I was really hoping Nintendo was going to announce like a better system for like Breath of the Wild 2 or like co-op in it.
Or like they were going to announce Breath of the Wild 2 or like show you anything worthwhile for Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the little trailer.
All right, it's now time for What Are You Playing This Week? A part of the show where we talk about what we've been playing since the last podcast. So maybe we should rename this segment to What Have You Been Playing This Month? I'll go first because mine's
Such lofty goals.
I'll go first because mine's pretty quick. I was able to get a Series X. GameStop got back in stock some of the Xbox All Access stuff, and since that was announced when the podcast was not meeting, that's a weird way to say it. Xbox All Access, for anybody who doesn't know, is where you pay $35 a month and you get Game Pass Ultimate and a Series X, and you do that for 2 years, and then the Series X is yours and you can just keep paying for Game Pass if you want. So if you do the math, it costs basically exactly the same amount of money as just buying a Series X and paying for Game Pass Ultimate.
So it's like almost like basically kind of getting like
it's
a
a 0%,
like under contract.
Yeah, it's a 0% interest loan on a Series X, which I would happily just buy the Series X, but they had only had it in stock for All Access, and I already pay for Game Pass Ultimate. So for me, it's like literally no downsides. I signed up for it, and it just arrived. I set it up last night. I installed everything. It's another Xbox. Like, it's just faster than the One X. Everything looks basically the same, works basically the same, because they're PCs now in the best possible way. Like, I turn it on, syncs all my data, I start my games downloading again. Everything's there. I can just pick up right where I left off. Super easy. So I'm pretty happy with it.
You called the Xbox console the best PC. You basically just called it all the best PC.
It's a lot of the best parts of a PC. I mean, my PC's better, but, you know, for the average person.
Oh, gotcha.
And the game swapping's pretty cool. I don't know if you tried that.
I haven't, but I started a bunch of games last night, and then I shut the system down, and my plan was to go back to it tonight and try just jumping. I have Forza Horizon 4 and Forza 7 both open, so I can jump back and forth between them. That's the plan. And I kind of had given up on Dragon Age Origins. Now, I might go back to it at some point, but I did it. That was on my PC, but I installed Dragon Age Inquisition on this using Game Pass because I hear that one's really good. And
you need to test out some of the games that have the frame boost.
I need to go look up. I wasn't sure which ones do. My TV won't do 120 hertz, but I mean,
there's a really cool game called Skyrim.
But I mean, to be fair, it running at 60 on the console does look nice.
What games would you recommend?
I mean, what did I install? I installed Fallout 4 and I installed Elder Scrolls.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm terrified to look at James' games list. On his PS3, he had like a 4 terabyte drive and every game on it ever.
So the expansion for 1 terabyte for the Series X is like $220 or something like that. So I'm being a little more thrifty. Like I have my external 4 terabyte that's dedicated to the Xbox One games, and then the internals just for the Series X enhanced games.
Can you plug the same drive that held all your Xbox One games into the Series X?
It automatically recognizes them.
PC, baby. James, what have you been playing?
Been playing House Flipper in real life.
Wait, you guys
are not flipping the house? No, we're not flipping.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Basically the premise of that game, the game House Flipper. Yes, I achieved finishing a room. Nothing popped up. My score didn't go up.
Your back didn't pop?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Drank lots of coffee.
Perfect. I'm so glad that I'm about to start a room renovation because you guys have had nothing but positive, wonderful things to say about that entire process. Dave, what have you been playing?
I will say it's really satisfying when you finish a room, and I'll know that feeling someday.
Yeah, I was going to say, who are you talking about?
I think this room is probably finished. I think. Yeah, Joel was asking last time I played Mass Effect, and I think it was 2 days ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I played last Friday, and I thought about it, I was like, now that was like almost 3 weeks ago. I haven't played any games at all in almost 3 weeks, except for we played 2 hours of Battlefield 4 last Monday. Yeah, it's been a super terrible couple of weeks with the room flooding and having to replace new appliances with newer ones, and
That's what really gets you, is replacing a newish appliance with a brand new one, isn't it?
2.5-year-old washing machine cracked in half in the drum, basically.
Dave was just screaming at it, "You owe me 10 more years!"
I literally made Jess do the checkout with it because I could not. I was like, I don't even want to look at the receipt. I don't want to check out.
Dave's just out in the parking lot calling Raid Shadow Legends, be like, "Daddy hungry."
Daddy.
Daddy dirty right now.
Daddy soiled.
It's so funny though. Afterwards, like money lost all meaning. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna do all new shelving. We threw away all the wire shelving. We're doing like all new like pine plank shelving.
So rage. That's the stage you're at. Is rage. The money doesn't
Full on
matter.
rage.
It's full on Dave rage.
The rage reached a point that when Jessie had to text me because I was on the other side of the store on purpose when she was trying to check out with the washer. She texted me. She goes, "Do you want the 3-year extended warranty?" And I looked down at my phone and I thought, and I'm staring at all the lumber in front of me and my next couple of weeks, and I said, "Pay the damn $100 for the 3-year warranty." 2.5 years is what our last washer lasted. 2.5 years.
And that's super bad luck. I don't feel like I've ever
all come
replaced
with
a washer.
1-year warranties now. They all come with 1-year warranties. Every single last one.
I think I've decided when something like that dies for me, and I've been fortunate, I've never had to replace a washer, a fridge, whatever. Like plenty of other cars have broken. I haven't gotten off easy in life, but in this particular area, I've been pretty lucky. I'm just going to buy like commercial stuff, I think. Like, you know, used or whatever, but like I want to buy something that's made out of cast iron. And
Dude, yeah, older, especially washing machines, like older ones, certain ones, like find the ones that are brands that those things, they freaking last forever. So you're not going to get certain features.
They might use
stuff
8 times
really
the power,
need,
and there's a little bit of a radiation leak, but they will not die.
But they'll work, and you won't have to run them 4 freaking times.
You could
You know a lot about
so
washing machines, Joel.
I helped my dad fix like tons of them, honestly. Like they're like he used to help people like in our neighborhood. Like
I was gonna say,
fix them up.
knowing your
'Cause he would
dad would
fix the
probably be
motors
like,
and everything.
Yeah, it breaks in half, and your dad's like, I didn't say you could go yet. Your dad's out there with a welding, like a welding torch.
Yeah.
You
That
owe
was
me
the other
10
half of it
years.
too. The only reason that I finally just threw in the towel and bought a new one was I'm gonna repair the old one at some point and give it to my parents to use. Like I was not gonna throw a 2-year-old washer away. Like I will fix it, and someone's gonna get at least 5.
You wouldn't throw away a 15-year washer.
I did 2 years ago.
My parents, I'm sorry to shame Dave like this, but I feel like it's very relevant. Last year, my parents were overhauling a bathroom in their house because my grandmother was moving in. So they had to put in, old people versions of showers and toilets and whatever. And I just put it out into the universe just in case, like, does anybody want a used toilet? Who do you think did? Now, it was completely cleaned and sanitized, everything else bundled up into bags. Like, there was honestly nothing wrong with the toilet. But, that was already a 17-year-old toilet.
And now it's going to be in.
You should have said used by Joel and, like, have him signature on it. I wrote Norman on this toilet.
Well, that particular old tire has
I
been
extruded
burned.
Norman in this toilet.
Yeah, that tire in the junkyard has been burned years ago, so we can't get that back. Joel,
I would have doubled down and repaired it now, but the last part we needed had an estimate of September.
yeah, I was gonna say, no,
was
you
like,
need clean clothes now. You can
Yeah.
repair later.
There was no. We have a child who likes to wear his oatmeal instead of eat it, so yeah. Sorry,
Joel, I'm guessing that you're probably the only one of us that has played any games in the last couple weeks.
Yeah. So,
Joel, Mr. House Renter over here has been like, honestly, it's been pretty carefree.
house renter, life enjoyer. I've been just been trying to actually enjoy life after finishing the film. I'm like, been trying to not leap into like.
So why aren't you coming over to hang
big
out?
Projects.
Yeah, why aren't we doing stuff?
Oh, there's an answer.
We already did that. We hate each other. That's on the podcast. We can continue the tour. No, I mean, I played I'm pretty far into Mass Effect 2. I'm not too far from the end, honestly. But I was on vacation for a little bit, and I brought the Switch and played Resident Evil 4. And I've never beaten that entire game. I played it back on the Nintendo Wii, but I remember just getting close to the end, and I honestly don't remember anything after that. So I honestly don't remember if I beat it or not. But I'm like really close to the end, so been enjoying that. It's kind of been like anytime we're away on a vacation or somewhere else, I'll just bring the Switch, continue it, and so that's a great game. Resident Evil 4 is really good.
Nice.
So all right, it is now time for the news.
News time.
Joel, what's going on with Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut?
Oh, so I saw that it was just announced just the other day. There was a bit of rumors about them doing another island near Tsushima. Name wrong. I didn't know it was a real place until the game. I thought it was just like a fake place or whatever. But I mean, now like the tourism for that area is pretty awesome, which is really cool. And a lot of the gamers actually raised money to help save and help rebuild a lot of stuff on that island. So anyways, it's basically kind of like the PlayStation 5 next gen upgrade of it, but they're releasing a smaller like second island in the game, basically kind of like a DLC type thing. But yeah, it's going to be like 4K, 60 FPS, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm excited about it because you're going to be able to like transfer your saves. So like I don't want to replay the game. I literally, that was the first game I ever platinumed or whatever on PS5 or PS4 or anything. Because it was quite doable. It didn't have one of those random things in a game at the end where it's like, make, 4,000 shots and replay the game on every difficulty. Like, I'm not doing that, you know what I mean? Like, especially like, it's like I'm not playing it on 5 different difficulties to do that. But yeah, I just thought that was really cool. That came kind of out of nowhere, but that was a really solid game. If you have a PS5, I definitely recommend trying out the game.
Wow, just rubbing it in. Good. If you have a PS5, just twist the knife.
Next week, Jeremiah.
Maybe. We'll see. Dave, I see you have a news item, which I am also very interested in.
Yeah, so there was a product around 2015 called the Western Digital My Book Live Duo. This was a web-connected backup hard drive, because why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's a NAS. It's a NAS hard drive for people who don't want to learn how to run a whole NAS.
Yeah. But it didn't appear to have many actual features. Like there was no cloud backup. It was just like a control panel, right? Basically a user-friendly control panel for your hard drive. And you could also, just use it as a normal external USB drive. You could disable all the cloud stuff. Well, apparently a ne'er-do-well discovered a exploit in the firmware for the hard drive, and about 5 days ago now, at around 2:00 in the morning Eastern, he wiped every single one of these devices that was online, like reformatted them, factory reset. And that includes people who had gone in and disabled the cloud features of the drive, but still hadn't disconnected it from the internet. And it appears that the data is gone. Like it is a factory complete wipe of the drive.
Would it be possible if you took the drive to a really expensive drive company, maybe get it saved that way, but outside of that, it's pretty much gone?
If it had been deleted, maybe, but it appears, I'm looking at the article here.
They have to completely.
If it was written over.
Written over completely. Jeez, that would suck.
And it appears that they may have run this particular script in a way that it did actually overwrite the drive, like completely factory wiped it.
Oh, that's horrible.
And Western Digital was basically just sending out an email to everyone who ever bought one saying, unplug it. And to me, this is just yet another example of not everything needs to be internet connected. Just stop. James and I were talking about this earlier this week.
Does your new washer have an app?
It does, and I'm gonna just not.
How much storage does it have?
Yay or nay. It does have one cool feature for the app that tells you if you forgot a load in the washer and you haven't put it in the dryer yet after a while.
That's fantastic.
So I have a feeling Jesse's gonna use it because we definitely had some loads of towels or something that just sat overnight and just gotta wash that again.
Dave, I have a scenario for you with drives. I don't want this to happen to you ever.
Yes, you do.
But I'm curious. Okay, yes I do. Of course I do.
You don't have to lie to me, Joel.
If all your drives, or let's just say all your your Battlefield videos, your background Battlefield, all that stuff, right? If it all got erased, and I mean all of it, like anywhere you have it, it's just gone.
YouTube goes completely down.
Yeah. My question to you: would you next time around go like triple backup, or like I mean like you probably already triple backup, but I mean like would you go even more hard backup, or do you think if everything got erased, you kind of be like just toss the table and be like, you know what, I'm just not saving crap anymore unless it's like kid footage with Micah or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Backup wise, I actually don't back up a ton.
Like, we'll never trust the system again and be like, never mind. I'm never keeping Battlefield footage again.
Well, I'm pretty selective with backups. Like, I back up my current YouTube footage drive because it saves edits. If I have an edit that I'm working on that dies, I have one backup of that. I delete footage when I'm done with it. So, one backup for that. Now, old photos, like family photos and videos, stuff like that, that is double backed up. And that stays constantly backed up. Old YouTube renders, I put them on an external drive and cycle that drive and put it in the safe when I'm done with it. And whenever that drive dies, I don't really care about it. Like, I've never pulled one back out to look at it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So that's like,
Dave,
but that's like the different tiers of it.
And those are hard drives that are not plugged into the computer right now, so there is no way for them to be wiped other than bit rot or an EMP or something, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So, like, Joel, that's what I do. Like, it would be impossible for someone to wipe all of my stuff without physically stealing all of the locations where the things are and destroying them, because they're not all...
I mean, let's say go for you, Jeremiah.
You're basically giving him a map of how to do this.
They can't. That's true. No, but Joel, here's the thing. It can't.
I want to know the mental breakdown. That's why I don't care about the drive.
Here's the most important thing.
What would happen
mentally. It can't happen. But I don't have to mentally consider that because it can't happen.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Joel. What happened with Elder Scrolls?
What hasn't happened? What hasn't happened? Every damn time, James. Oh, I didn't tell you this. Oh my gosh, here, perfect. You know why I deleted Skyrim on Switch?
Oh no.
So I had it on Switch. I got it when we were doing mixing for Norman. I was like, I just need something to play on. And I played probably 100 hours of it on Switch, on and off. Well, I shut it off halfway through. The saves corrupted. I did the cloud saves. It went and put me back 70 hours. Dude, I hit delete. I was like, damn it.
I can feel that. I
was like, it was like my little cozy spot to go to. But you know what? I don't know games I want to play.
Of comfort.
I'm free. But it wouldn't be your cozy spot if that's not how it went. It wouldn't be the same game if it didn't corrupt somehow.
I know.
But Joel, so I realize you're asking a hypothetical question.
Yeah.
If I lost all that stuff hypothetically, I'd probably just go, all right, moving on. Because that's what I've done. I talk about cars and stuff as much as I do. But when my Spider got hit and was wrecked, I had a really bummed first night. But then I moved on. And I moved on when the WRX blew its motor.
Well, I know you'd move on. I guess what I'm trying to get to is, do you think you would continue doing the same system you're doing?
Yeah, my system is good enough.
Or kind of be you know what? I had a lot of stuff. I might not stress about it as much or work as hard as I might have been to keep it. I don't know. I was just curious.
I think it would be very hard for my current system to be completely defeated. And I think I would keep my current system without going into too much detail. I won't tell you about all of it. You'll never find out.
It hasn't failed. It will not fail.
I have more copies of things. I have 2 simultaneous online backup services running right now. That is not the permanent plan. I'm in a transitionary period while I move my own private cloud to a farther location.
And yet I lose my wallet 4 times a week.
All right. It is now time. Dave, you said you had a good comment of the week, right? We're closing the podcast down here, but you said you had a good one that you've been saving. So I want to give you the opportunity to reach down into the grab bag of things that make you glad to be a gamer and share with us what's been keeping your self-esteem up.
This was one of the most beautiful, help me out, when something is side by side and easily compared, is a word for it.
Analogy?
Parallel?
parallel.
Parallel, maybe?
Comparison?
I forgot what I'm trying to get here. It's been a long week. These two
Joel.
comments.
I don't want to say what came to my mind. I'm like,
Please say it. Please.
What could have possibly come into your mind?
when two things go side by side.
Okay, no, you know what? I don't want to.
My brain just went to, oh, you mean dick swapping? What is that? Wait, what is going on?
What is that? What does that even mean?
No, that's what I was like. What? Why do they think that? What is that?
All right. Well, we're going to save my comments of the week for next time because Joel's comment of the week is, oh, it must mean dick swapping. We're going to cut it right there. That's it. That's it.
I don't understand.
Gosh.
All right.
We're all old and broken is what
So
it
this
is.
has been the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast that, like most weeks, contained precious little games. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. You can write into
just like real
casual
life.
shenanigans@gmail.com, just like that one podcast group that was trying to tell us how big we were in Estonia. No Estonians wrote in. That's kind of a bummer. You can also tweet at Casual Shenanigan, but I'm not watching that account really closely, so don't waste your time. And thank you to everybody who has discovered us on Spotify, Apple Music, and the other places where the podcasts get automatically distributed to. Please stop contributing to the Patreon. It is not worth your money. And anybody have anything else they want to add? Or are we good to shut this thing down?
I think
All right.
good. I do have a good.
Where did
90
your mind go
seconds
this time?
goal the next time.
Yeah, all right, cool.
No,
yeah,
I
just
do have a good 90 seconds next.
yeah, just save that on the dock for next time. And now enjoy the Aches and Pains cast. All right, we can warm up for as little or as much as you want, and then we'll go directly into it. The clap wasn't that bad. Not the first time I've heard
Felt
that.
the wind.
So I guess this is just the old man grown up podcast. James is sharing pictures of his home renovation. Dave's talking about his home renovation. I'm about to start a home renovation. Joel's about to go.
Do we want to talk about aches and pains? We could
Oh
do
my
that.
gosh, yes.
We should have an aches and pains.
That's it. That's tonight.
You want
It's
to
the
talk?
Aches and
You
Pains
want to talk
cast.
about a podcast that's going to go way over time?
So in the Aches and
I
Pains,
literally feel that, James.
since the last
Like
episode,
we're able to we're not able to talk about video games anymore. We're like we could talk for like hours about
James,
how I pulled a muscle doing the most random thing.
I can't play the video games because my sciatica won't let me sit in my chair long enough.
I can't play the video games.
Everybody's like
Oh, my bones keep
trying to
making
play.
new noises.
We flew first class on our trip this past weekend because when we checked in, they gave us an option to upgrade for really cheap. And since the last time I flew, my back locked up and then started this several month journey that I've been on. I was like, that's probably worth it. Let's do it. And I tell you what, I kind of get why people like first class. The seat was not any plusher than coach, so that was a disappointment. Or before I keep going, have any of you flew first class before?
I've sat in a first class seat, but that's about it. Because I asked somebody.
James, have you? That's the smile of a boy who flies well.
No, I don't actually. I'm the boy who spends a lot of money flying. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is our first time ever doing it, and the seat wasn't any more comfy, but the amount of room, like there's a lot of cubbies. You can tuck your backpack under like just an open area, so you have tons of leg room. And when the flight attendant came over, she knew our names and asked what we wanted, which normally it's like, would you like a ginger ale or these pretzels? But she was like, what do you want? And I was like, what can I have? And she was like, beer, wine, soda, coffee, just started like rattling off a bunch of stuff. I was like, I'll take a coffee. And she brought me a coffee. And I was expecting this is going to be like Keurig or worse. It actually tasted like a decent cup of coffee. I don't know how they made it. But yeah,
They have the Star Trek thing that.
yeah, I think first class.
I actually wonder, Jeremiah, I wonder if they would get like a good brewed coffee, like get it hot from a restaurant in the airport and store it for the flight, maybe for first
I
class.
love how you guys are questioning how they can make coffee in an airplane. They don't question the fact that you're flying thousands of feet above the ground. Like the technology to do one is a little harder than the other.
Good coffee though. Good coffee.
That's true. Like maybe the altitude helps with the blend.
We decided that that most of the benefits of first class were the benefits of the exit row, so I just paid a little extra for the exit row on the way home and was very comfortable. Anyway. But yes, aches and pains. I'm going to physical therapy again. I got another appointment tomorrow. We determined that my stomach pain is probably not a hernia. So now we're back to working on the sciatica.
Do you know where, like, on your stomach? Like,
yeah, I can feel it hurt. What do you mean?
no, I mean, is it like more centered?
It's a muscle. It's a muscle that goes across here. They think it's possible one of my ribs is out.
Ow.
So we'll see if they can put that back. But overall, my quality of life has drastically improved in the last few months since going to physical therapy.
Oh, dude, I'm
Nice.
so glad your back's feeling better. It sucks.
Yeah. So those are
I
my
think it was
aches.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I was going to say, I think it was 2 weeks ago, my younger brother and I were going to help my dad move a small gun safe. And it was a pretty small one. It's like 300 some pounds with the door on, but you can take the door off. We're like, oh, it's like 250 with the door off. It'll be fine. And we decided just to carry it, this is the two of us, up this narrow flight of stairs. And by the end, we were making like all the dad noises at the same time. The next day, we're walking around like we're just completely just crippled. It was not smart. We definitely should have used a hand truck. And also, because of the height of that narrow staircase too, I was doing the backup carry. And it was like every step we took, like pushed me back onto the stairs and like rammed the edge of the safe into my shins, like every step. I'm so tired.
I did replace my chair, Jeremiah, with another of the same chair.
I was going to say, it looks exactly the same. I'm sitting in a mesh
the
chair.
other one's brown.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't do mesh. It's just
yeah. Mine's black. Yeah. That's what confused me. Sorry.
No, yeah, mine is brown.
I'm using a mesh one from work because when I got the injury, it was more comfortable because the other one's kind of like a little bit too relaxed.
Gotcha.
So, anyway, do we want to go ahead and get this thing started?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Were we still thinking about that 9:15 ending time?
Let's aim for it.
All right, let's see what happens. We got to talk about we got to give the people better than 20 minutes.
Well, we
I don't know.
would
The
have.
speed podcast was that was
good.
That was pretty much gold.
It was there's a lot of content. A lot of content.
A lot of breathless, aggressive, almost too aggressive content.
All right, Joel, you ready with the timer?
Yep.
All right, we're going to do 3, 2, 1, go again. Does that sound good?
Right. Why?
To start for him to start just start the timer. I don't care. Just start it.
And start.